Dear viewers, welcome to H2O, Research Center for Psychological Counseling and Psychotherapy. H2O aims to spread happiness in the world to all, irrespective of language, nationality, or any other division that we have created for ourselves. In this episode, we're going to see how to handle a troublesome child. A child that throws tantrum, a child that cries for something that he or she wants, let's say a chocolate. What would you do? As a parent, as a caregiver, what would you do when the child is standing in front of you and it is crying for chocolate? So how will you handle this? I asked this question to thousands of my students over the course of my teaching journey. More than 90% of them have answered saying that they will give the chocolate to the child when the child is crying. This is the most common mistake that we all make. Like when a child is crying for the chocolate in front of us, to make the child stop crying, we give the chocolate, we offer the chocolate to the child. In fact, once I remember a student of mine gave a funny answer saying that I would eat the chocolate in front of the child. And you know what would happen? It would in fact worsen the situation than fixing it. I would like to dedicate this video to my professor, Veerapandian sir, who taught me psychology. Without his teachings, I'm nobody today. In fact, he was the one who asked this question when I was a student. There were hundreds of students in the class at that time. None of us gave the correct answer, including me. And my professor explained how we should have really handled the situation. Let's say, if the child is crying and as a parent, you are standing in front of the child, what would you do now? Most of them answered saying that I will give the child so the child stops crying because that's my motive. That's what I really want. Let's see the consequence of offering the chocolate when the child cries. If the child takes the chocolate and if the child stops crying, you know what would happen next? The very next day, if the child wants a chocolate, what would the child do? It is going to start crying. And the same child, when it becomes a grown-up, what would happen in the society? Every time when he or she wants something in the world, they will go and cry and they will throw tantrums. And the world is not going to be very soft and polite to the child or the grown-up, the so-called grown-up. Let's say if the child is faced with a failure, like the world is not going to accept, it's not going to give the chocolate in their hands. So the same person who's going to attend a job interview, when he fails, you know what would happen? That is going to be devastating for him. The same child is going to complain about the society, parents, teachers, politicians, and educational systems, everything. Just because he was not offered what he really wanted and he tried in his own ways. So what would be the right answer? What would you really do? Let's assume this, visualize this situation. The child is in front of you and the child is crying for the chocolate. You have chocolate in your hand. Now what would you do? Would you offer the child the chocolate? But the most appropriate answer is what we have learned from B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. You have to explain the child, you stop crying and I will give you the chocolate. And when the child stops crying, you offer the chocolate, you give the chocolate to the child and say that the chocolate is rewarded, given to you because you stop crying, because you have demonstrated a good behavior. And this is easier said than done. It is not that easy. Maybe a few times you are not going to succeed. First time you may have to give the chocolate to the child for the child to stop crying and then try explaining the situation. Maybe try the second time, third time, because I'm very sure the child is more persistent than an adult. But you can't give in for the child's demand by giving the chocolate. Maybe second time, third time, fourth time, maybe 10th time, you could win. You can tell the child very clearly that please stop crying and you will be given the chocolate. And you will win at one time, and that one time is your big victory because you are changing a generation. When you do that, the child will definitely grow up knowing that this is not the way how I should be getting what I want. When I want it, I will take it in the right way and go and ask in a polite manner. So this is how you will be handling a child who is crying for the chocolate. Let's say this is, in fact, in today's generation, I would say mostly children are crying for their, for their parents' smartphone. I can see like how children are addicted to smartphones. If you really want to know how to make the child stop using mobile phone completely, or you want them to use particularly, certain hours, if you would like to know the tips, please ask in the comment section. We'll make content related to that. I hope this content was useful to you. I'm not really asking you to subscribe or hit the like button. This is not in fact my intention. If I can produce some content which is really useful to you, I'm happy and that's it. If you really think this is useful and if it could really help somebody, then in that case only you can share this video. If you need any psychological help, please feel free to contact us. Visit us at www.h2oresearchcenter.com. And this is Ruthran Raghavan signing off for H2O. Thank you so much. Have a happy day.